Have you ever felt the urge to get back at someone who hurt you? It's a natural feeling, almost primal, that urges you to seek revenge. But here's something to consider. What if revenge wasn't about doing something to the person who wronged you, but about doing something profound to yourself? What if the real power in your life is not in the act of revenge, but in how you choose to respond to those who try to break you? In this speech, we'll explore the profound truth behind the best revenge, a revenge so powerful that it not only heals your wounds, but elevates you beyond the reach of those who caused you harm. Stick with me, because the journey to understanding this transformation might change your life forever. Revenge is often seen as a response to injustice, a way of restoring balance after someone has wronged us. It's a reaction to pain, an urge to regain control in the face of loss or betrayal. Yet, when we examine the deeper nature of revenge, we begin to see that it is rooted in a misunderstanding of power and its true source. Most people believe that to seek revenge is to reclaim what has been taken, to balance the scales of wrongdoing. But in reality, this pursuit of revenge only chains us further to the very thing that harmed us in the first place. The more you engage in the cycle of retaliation, the more you are bound to the past. You become a prisoner of your own anger, and that bitterness grows like a cancer, eating away at your peace of mind and your ability to move forward. The idea that revenge is a form of justice is a lie. It gives us the illusion that we are somehow reclaiming our dignity, but what it actually does is reinforce the power that the wrongdoer has over us. Every act of revenge places them back at the center of our lives, controlling our actions, our emotions, and our thoughts. The real strength, then, comes not in trying to undo the past, but in releasing its hold over us. When we understand that revenge is not the solution, we begin to see that true freedom comes when we stop being defined by the harm others have caused us. It's not about erasing the past, but about transcending it. It's about understanding that the power to move forward lies not in our ability to hurt others in return, but in our capacity to heal ourselves. To be truly free, we must release the need to control what others have done to us and shift our focus inward. When we no longer seek revenge, we stop giving our power away. We stop allowing the wrongdoer to dictate how we live, feel, or react. Instead, we reclaim our sovereignty, choosing how we respond and how we grow from the experience. It is this shift in mindset that offers the real revenge, one that does not involve hurting anyone, but one that leaves us in control of our own destiny. Revenge often feels like the natural response to hurt, the instinct to right a wrong by making the person who wronged us feel the same pain. But beneath that instinct lies a deeper truth. Holding on to anger only perpetuates the suffering. The desire for revenge is not just about striking back at someone else. It is about holding on to the past and allowing it to dictate our present. What if we let go of that hold? What if, instead of clinging to anger, we made the radical decision to heal ourselves? The act of revenge may seem to promise a moment of justice or satisfaction, but what it truly offers is an ongoing relationship with the pain. By seeking revenge, you tie yourself to the person who hurt you, your emotions wrapped around their actions. You give them power over you every time you replay the hurt or think about how to get back at them. The choice to let go, on the other hand, is an act of liberation. It's a refusal to allow the past to dictate your present and future. When you choose healing over revenge, you stop the cycle of negativity. You stop nurturing the anger, the resentment, the need for payback, and instead, you create space for growth, for peace, and for renewal. This is not to say that the hurt should be ignored or forgotten. It simply means that the weight of it no longer needs to govern your every action or thought. Letting go is a way of reclaiming your peace. It's not about excusing the wrong done to you. It's about recognizing that holding on to the pain only prolongs the suffering. When you let go, you choose to free yourself from the grasp of bitterness and to move forward in a way that is empowered and grounded in your own strength. The true power, then, is in the choice to heal, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's a return to self, a reconnection with who you are beyond the harm others have caused. By focusing on healing, you stop being defined by what others have done to you and begin to define yourself by how you rise above it. The real revenge, the most potent one, is the transformation of your own life. Revenge is often a reflection of the belief that we can control others through our actions. We seek to make the person who hurt us feel the weight of their wrongdoing, believing that by doing so, we can somehow regain power over the situation. Yet, the truth is that revenge is rooted in a fundamental illusion, the illusion of control. In reality, the actions of others are beyond our grasp. We cannot dictate how someone else thinks, behaves, or feels. When we try to take control through revenge, we only end up trapping ourselves in a cycle of reactivity. We may think that by retaliating, we are asserting our dominance, regaining our dignity, or protecting ourselves from future harm, but in reality, we are only giving more power to the situation. The more we focus on how to control the behavior of others, the less power we have over ourselves. Revenge is an act of reaction, not creation. It keeps us locked in a state of emotional turmoil, constantly tethered to the actions of those who have hurt us. The true source of power lies not in trying to control others, but in mastering our own response to them. In the moment we choose to rise above the desire for revenge, we reclaim control over our lives. We take back the power that was once surrendered to the wrongdoer. Instead of reacting from a place of hurt, we respond from a place of inner strength and wisdom. This shift is the key to freedom. By choosing to let go of the need for revenge, we open the door to a life where we are not at the mercy of others' actions. We create space to heal, to grow, and to focus on the things that truly matter: our peace, our well-being, and our future. The more we recognize that our power lies in our ability to control our own reactions, the less we need to seek retribution or justice. We begin to understand that we are the authors of our own story, not the victims of someone else's narrative. True freedom comes from letting go of the illusion that we can control others and instead embracing the reality that the only true control we have is over ourselves. Healing is often perceived as a quiet internal process, one that requires patience and self-reflection. When we experience pain, especially at the hands of others, the immediate response is often to seek retribution or to find a way to make things right. However, the most profound healing comes not from any external action, but from a deep internal commitment to restore balance within ourselves. The best form of revenge, then, is not an act toward others, but a commitment to our own emotional and spiritual healing. Healing is transformative, not just for the person who has been hurt, but for the world around them. It allows us to move beyond the hurt and to embrace our full potential. By choosing to heal, we stop being defined by the pain inflicted on us. Instead, we reclaim our narrative, empowering ourselves with the strength to transcend the wounds of the past. This is a powerful act because, in the end, it is not the person who caused the hurt who will continue to suffer, but the one who chooses to stay trapped in that hurt. The act of healing is an act of self, love, and self-respect. It is about understanding that your worth is not determined by the actions of others, but by how you choose to respond. Healing is about learning to forgive, not necessarily the wrongdoer, but yourself. It's about recognizing that the burden of pain does not need to be carried for a lifetime. By choosing healing, you free yourself from the emotional chains that tie you to the wrongdoer. You stop allowing their actions to dictate your peace, your joy, and your sense of self. This process takes time, and it may not be linear. There may be days of doubt, frustration, and sadness. But with each step toward healing, you reclaim a little more of yourself. You begin to grow in ways you never imagined, tapping into reserves of strength and wisdom that you may not have known existed. In this way, the best revenge is not an act of retaliation, but an act of transformation. Healing allows us to rise above the hurt, and it is through this rise that we gain the power to move forward in peace, unshackled from the past. This is the ultimate form of revenge, becoming the person you were always meant to be, despite the pain others may have caused. Revenge often feels like the natural way to validate the pain we have experienced. It's a way of saying, "You hurt me, and now I will make you feel the consequences of your actions." But real strength lies not in validating the hurt or seeking justice through retaliation, but in rising above that hurt. When we choose to rise above the pain others have inflicted upon us, we are not denying or minimizing the reality of the harm done to us. Rather, we are choosing to transcend it, transforming the energy of hurt into something powerful, constructive, and healing. This is not about ignoring the emotions that arise from being wronged, but about using those emotions as stepping stones for personal growth. It's about taking what was once a source of suffering and turning it into a catalyst for self-discovery and strength. When we rise above the hurt, we refuse to let it define us. We refuse to be imprisoned by the actions of others. The real strength in this lies in the ability to maintain our integrity, our peace, and our self-worth, even in the face of pain. Instead of allowing the wrongdoer's actions to dictate how we feel, we assert our power to choose how we respond. Rising above the hurt means realizing that the wrongdoer may have temporarily wounded us, but they do not have the power to control our emotions, our future, or our sense of self. In this way, we stop seeking external validation or retribution, and instead, we turn inward, looking for the strength to heal ourselves. This inner strength does not come from avoiding or suppressing the pain, but from acknowledging it and allowing it to propel us forward in our journey of personal growth. It's in this act of rising above that we become empowered to create a future that is not bound by the past. By rising above the hurt, we shift the narrative. We stop being victims of what others have done to us and start becoming the authors of our own story. The hurt is still there, but it no longer holds the power to control our lives. We rise, not for the sake of revenge, but for the sake of our own evolution, and in doing so, we find the freedom to live authentically and powerfully, unshackled from the limitations imposed by others. Choosing peace over revenge is one of the most powerful decisions we can make in life. Revenge often drags us into a battle, a conflict that feeds our anger and keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity. It is a constant war, one that may seem justified at first, but ultimately leaves us drained, bitter, and unsettled. When we seek revenge, we perpetuate the conflict, continuing to fuel the energy of harm and destruction. Peace, on the other hand, is an act of rebellion, not against the wrongdoer, but against the forces that would bind us to negative emotions. By choosing peace, we choose to break free from the cycle of retaliation and to elevate ourselves beyond the reach of those who have hurt us. Choosing peace does not mean passivity or weakness. It's not about allowing others to walk all over us or to go unchecked in their actions. Rather, it's about taking control of our own emotional state, about not letting anyone else dictate how we feel or react. Peace is a conscious decision to let go of anger, resentment, and the need for vengeance. It's about recognizing that peace comes from within and is not dependent on the actions of others. When we choose peace, we shift our focus from what others have done to us to what we can do for ourselves. We focus on our own healing, our own growth, and our own well-being. Peace is an act of self-care. It's a refusal to engage in the war that others may try to start, and instead, it's a commitment to creating an inner sanctuary where we are free from external turmoil. This decision to embrace peace allows us to rise above the chaos, to find stillness amid the storm, and to navigate life with clarity and calm. The more we embrace peace, the less power the wrongdoer has over us. We take our power back, not through retaliation, but through the strength of our ability to remain centered and grounded, no matter the circumstances. When we choose peace, we choose freedom, the freedom to live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. In a world that often seems bent on conflict and division, choosing peace is a radical act of self-liberation, a rebellion against the forces that seek to bind us to anger and bitterness. And in this peace we find the most profound form of revenge, the quiet, unshakable strength of living in harmony with ourselves, no matter what has happened in the past. In the end, the best revenge is not in striking back at those who have hurt us, but in choosing to rise above their actions. By letting go of the desire for retaliation, we free ourselves from the chains of anger, resentment, and pain. Healing, peace, and personal growth become our true forms of empowerment, offering us the strength to transcend the hurt and reclaim our peace. When we shift our focus from the wrongdoer to our own well-being, we regain control over our lives and our emotions. The real power lies in how we choose to respond to life's challenges, not by engaging in a cycle of negativity, but by embracing transformation, peace, and the wisdom to let go. In this way, we become the authors of our own story, no longer defined by the actions of others, but by the strength and peace we cultivate within ourselves. This is the ultimate revenge: to heal, to rise, and to live a life that is not dictated by the pain others have caused, but by the freedom we choose to create.